Welcome to the very first episode of Fueling the Flame. I'm your host, Mason Miller, and throughout the year, we'll be joined by a variety of athletes, coaches, and athletic department members here at Carthage College on the show. So before I get into it, I think I should introduce myself to you guys. So I'm a junior here at Carthage College. I'm on the men's basketball team, majoring in finance and marketing, and I'm the host of the show, and I'm really excited. And so in today's show, we have a very special guest. Some may call him a GOAT of Carthage College. Others may call him just their head coach like me. But on today's episode, we were joined by Steve Djurickovic, the active head coach of the men's basketball team.
Mason, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So if you guys don't know much about Steve, I've got a long list of accolades that I'll go through. If you don't believe me, I actually cut out a couple, so I'll try to get through this as quick as possible, but very impressive list here. So this is your 5th season as the head coach. You were 8 years as an assistant under Bosco, his father, which we'll talk about throughout this episode. 2-time NABC first-team All-American, 4-time D3Hoops.com All-American, National Rookie of the Year in 2008, bit of a baller as a young buck, National Player of the Year in 2018, and he's a prolific scorer, a bucket getter, so is the all-time leading scorer at Carthage with 2,547 points. And he's also a bit of a free throw merchant, NCAA record for most free throws made. If this is correct, he has 839 free throws made. Out of all these accolades, which some I did cut out, are there any that you're most proud of, or when you look back, you're like, man, that was pretty sweet that I was able to accomplish that?
The one that you didn't expect when it happens is the free throws, because you play every game. I think I shot just under 1,000 in 4 years as a player. But I think the one game that was a home conference game against North Central, I think I finished with 27 free throws attempted, which I think is CCIW D3 record, or was at the time. And you walked off the floor and somebody said, how many free throws did you shoot? And those ones are just, it's so repetitive, you forget about it. I'm like, I don't know, 12, 14, something like that. And they said, no, you shot to 27, and it definitely didn't feel like it. So I think free throws just standing out is kind of cool little stat there.
I guess now that we're on free throws, what do you think was the key to getting to the line so much? Was it foul baiting? Was it doing like the James Harden, like swing through foul? Or was it just being a threat?
That's a fair question, and you've done it enough in practice, drilling of getting to the basket, first step, getting through contact, getting to the rim. But if I could shoot it better, I may have done that a little bit more. So then I would have got to the foul line as much. But when you're not as good a three-point shooter, you have to find different ways to get some points, get to the basket, and help the team win. So did that a little bit, posted up a lot, and probably the best part, when your dad's your head coach, he yells at the refs a lot more. So that was a good thing for me.
I think father-son connection there is pretty close with yelling at the refs, but we might get into that later. But I think out of all these accolades, I think something that you maybe are most proud of now is that you're a father now. You had a kid recently. So would you mind being able to talk about what it's like being a father?
I don't know how much time we have, but welcomed baby girl, baby Mila, me and Lisa about 6 months ago now. And man, I know people have said it a lot going through the process of everything, and just how much it does change your life, change your perspective on things. And I don't know if you can tell it in 4 days into preseason practice, but it's been special. The bond that you have with family, and just allowing her to already been on campus, come to a practice just to hang out, that means so much to me, because I was obviously a little bit different situation 35 years ago, where my dad was a head coach too. I was around practice my entire life, so I've been able to be in gyms, grow up in gyms, hang out with college athletes, people that I looked up to a lot, and I'm just really excited for Mila to have that opportunity too.
It's been great to see Mila at practice, and I'm sure she'll enjoy growing up here at Carthage.
She will more and more, and we're still figuring out which sport we're going after. She's 6 months, we got a little time, but I know tennis is an option. Wife Lisa was a soccer player, so we got a few different ideas going forward.
I don't mean to put any pressure on Mila or anything, but have you had the discussion about college yet? Because I'm assuming she's going to Carthage, right? Is that the assumption?
She has limited options, let's put it that way. So I'm pretty sure she'll have an idea pretty quickly where she's going to end up.
Okay. Because I know your family's been very big and involved with Carthage College, between you, your sister, and your brother, of course your father. A bit of a Djurickovic legacy here at Carthage College. So would you mind talking about kind of just the family involvement overall with Carthage?
I think that's what makes this place so special. And it's not just, the fact I got the opportunity to play for my dad, play for 4 years, grow up on this campus. And, during the recruiting process now I get to, kind of go back in history a little bit and talk about how I've been on this campus since 1996. I was 8 years old running around this campus, so I've seen all of the changes throughout, from facility space to people coming in and out. But building those relationships, and my family, both older sister Mandy, who is heavily involved with the program, and sometimes we actually forget she does have a real job for how much she does for us in all aspects. And then younger brother Pete, who was a football player while he was here, still announces the football games every Saturday, all the home ones. And then, Dad's retired now, but still very involved. Been to a few practices already this year, even though he's down in Florida. I don't even know if you guys know, but he does have access to Huddle, so he watches every single practice after every single day. So it's good to get that feedback from somebody who's done so much and had so much success in this conference. And, Mom has been a super supportive, part of our family too. And just while she was the athletic director and basketball coach, girls basketball coach over at Bradford High School, she actually gave that up. Her last year would have been right before my freshman year in college, and that meant a lot to me to have her be able to be at pretty much every game over the years too. And so I don't get yelled at by the wife. Also met my wife Lisa here, so it was really cool. She was the soccer GA at the time, and super competitive like I am, so that was fun. Some not so fun parts. I think one of the first times we were hanging out, she beat me 21-3 in racquetball. I had no idea she played her entire life, so that was not a fun start. But I think it just showed like the competitiveness and the competitive person that she is, and I am too.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a point when you were in school that you and your other siblings all attended Carthage?
There was 1 year that all three of us. So Mandy started somewhere else, transferred on in. So I think she was a fifth year technically. I was a junior, and brother was a freshman. So all three of us were here. Dad obviously coaching at the time too. So there were a lot of times where there was four of us, if not five, for games all on campus at the same time.
Did that create an interesting dynamic on campus, or running through each other in the halls, or
No, it made it harder on how we had to share cars. That was the only difficult part. But outside of that, we have a really close relationship with family. And, I talked a lot about the family side, but just the people that have been here a long time on campus too. Some of the professors, a lot of the professors that are still here today are ones that I had 10, 12, 15 years ago too, including the master's part of it. I'll use Nick Winkler over the Dean of Students office, somebody that I worked with, was hall director back then when I was a student. It's nice to have those relationships over all of these years. You can go up into Lentz too from all the admission staff, people that you've known for basically most of your life growing up here.
I imagine that makes the coaching part of academics a little easier, knowing the professors pretty well and getting to have the communication.
I think it's great to have the relationship all across campus. I think when you're sort of working as one with everybody from the north side of campus, more the operations stuff, with the faculty, to the dean of students, to housing, and everybody on the same page, it's made it a very seamless transition.
Yeah. So a big thing about Carthage in most schools is for family and getting together is homecoming. And I want to talk about homecoming a little bit, do a little coverage there. So. Okay. Homecoming family weekend's coming up Friday, October 4th through the 6th. And, it's just a time of connection for Carthage students, alumni, time to meet some family. And Carthage actually has a pretty amazing homecoming slate. I don't know if you're aware of all these things, but I'll run through them pretty quick. So we got a musical, which I think is called Xanadu. We have a comedy show from a Carthage alumni. The Firebird 5K, Ember's Beer Garden, tailgate party, homecoming parade, and of course we have the football game. So besides checking out this amazing stuff that they got going over there, what are your actual plans for homecoming this week?
So what we've done for the last couple of years is and outside of all the different events on campus, I know a lot of people that do come up, a lot of former student athletes that are coming up for the 5K, which is exciting. But this will be our third year of our family alum get-together for the men's basketball program. So we tripled our numbers from year 1 to year 2. This is year 3 now. So if you have some time, come on up to the field house, say hey to us. We'll be up there for a while. It's a nice opportunity before our season really kicks up and gets going to have the families just in a relaxed setting, get to go watch the football game. We'll have some TVs upstairs watching the other games, have some food. It's a nice recruiting weekend for us as well. So that's where we'll be most of Saturday for homecoming. So if you are free, feel free to stop on up and say hey to the basketball program up in the Tark.
Yes, absolutely. It's always a great time. So let's get serious, okay? This is going to just be a short answer, yes or no.
Okay.
But how much do you know about James Bond?
Enough. Let's hear it. Oh, boy.
So I have sources, and yes, I do have sources, and they're very reliable and valuable sources, okay? So sources tell me, and I quote, about Steve, one night he apparently drank a 12-pack of cherry Coke as he played GoldenEye for 12 hours.
that would be, and I'll throw your source under the bus, that would be our announcer, Eric Elger, who was with me that day too, I believe, and I think he wasn't doing any better. But I do think we beat the game, GoldenEye, and you will not find it in the esports lounge, but if you can, anybody here on campus now who's born after 2001, you don't know what Nintendo 64 is. But for all you guys on the team, I will bring that to the locker room one day, and if anybody wants a challenge, I'm up for it.
I think that'd be great. So those of you who don't know, GoldenEye is a game based on 007 back in the day. It was one of the first, I guess what you call first-person shooter games. And, was this 12-hour gaming fiasco, was this during the season?
Man, I hope not. I would
say... I'm just curious to see what Bosco might think.
No. This was this is where, Eric, this is where your source is a little incorrect here.
Okay.
This was well before that. This would have been more in I would have to say in a high school setting there too. So before then, Coach Bosco out of the equation there, so he would have been okay with it. Coach Perini, maybe not so much.
12 pack of Djurickovic.
I've gotten way, way better too. So once you're...
So you're saying you can do 2 cases?
You know what? Now we're pushing this a little bit much. Okay. As a father, you're trying to be healthier as you go too. So now I've completely eliminated. I drink less soda than I probably have in my entire life. So little things, you said it. Having a baby changes things too, changes perspective. So eating healthy, drinking healthy. I'm trying. I'm not perfect. I'll tell you that. I'm trying to do better. But don't follow us after a post game when I think our first game's Illinois Tech this year. And we will be at Rico Benny's for a nice steak sandwich. So just giving everyone a heads up for that.
Okay. Little sneak peek.
Yeah.
All right, let's actually get serious now. So it must have been pretty cool being able to play for your father. We've kind of talked about that a little bit throughout here. Yeah, I mean, what was that dynamic between you being a player with your father and maybe how that's impacted you as a coach, as a player right now?
One of the most fun experiences possible. I don't think people that haven't gone through it can truly understand or comprehend the relationship that you have. And, there's going to be ups and downs throughout. We had a couple okay years, my first 2 years. And then, junior year, we really turned the corner, and that meant a lot. Obviously, having that connection with your dad that you saw every single day. In high school, you're with him every day at home, but at college, a lot of the times you're away. But just having the opportunity to be with my dad every single day and have that common goal of what we want to get to. And, for those that don't know as much, Dad's had a heck of a career, storied career throughout, was a part of 5 national championship teams back in North Park when he started in the 70s and the 80s, came up here and really changed the trajectory of our program. And, Carthage wasn't one of the, powers in the conference for a long time. And, I think it took 4 years before it went to a team that finished in the Final Four, Elite 8, Sweet 16 back-to-back years. That's 4 conference championships in the last 20, which is, I think, pretty cool and special to say that you were able to do that and be a part of it with your dad. So being a player, I think personality trait-wise, I was the only one in the family that could have made it work. I think older sister, she's a little, and she'll be the first to admit it, she's a little too emotional a little bit at times, so it may not go well with my dad's demeanor. I think younger brother, and with his personality, they would have fought. I can promise you they would have fought literally every step of the way. I'm probably, and people may not see it on the sidelines at time, I'm the more laid back approach of the 3. So don't laugh at that, Mason.
I'm just
saying.
Okay.
But of the 3, I think personalities, it really did fit well. So I loved every minute of it. I mean, it's probably something I miss the most from the basketball side of it. It's just that, we say on us as together, it's a family. And just being to do that every single day, going to work every single day with your dad was awesome. And then having 8-9 years after to be an assistant coach for him and learn more and more from that side of it, not just the X's and O's, but other things that lead into it that really sort of shapes your coaching career. And, it's given me a lot of ideas, a lot of things I think we work on throughout, and some things now that even though he is retired as a coach, talk to him every single day. So I still get advice, still get different thoughts. Do I get yelled at after games sometimes like I was as a player? You bet I do. But it was just really, really cool to have that relationship with my dad. And, I think what he said day one, like we tell all of our recruits, you have to earn it when you get here too. And, he got some advice from, actually he did a little interview this weekend with Coach Bridges, the old Illinois Wesleyan coach. And he also had his son as a player in the 80s too. So he actually picked a few brains of other coaches that had sons as players on the team. And I think that helped him to sort of understand how this was going to work. But, he told me the first day, like, you're going to earn everything you get. And he coached for 45 years as a coach in this conference, and I believe he promised 2 people total that they would come in and start. Really? And one of them was Antoine McDaniel, my idol, my favorite player. He was my Jordan, Kobe Bryant growing up. He was my favorite player and came to Carthage from Schaumburg and was a Final Four, Elite Eight, Sweet 16 player on that team, All-American point guard. And the other one did not come. I was not the second person that got promised a starting spot, so I think my mom still holds that against my dad a little bit too.
Are there any stories of when maybe you're like in the driveway practicing with your dad? Because I know when I was younger, my dad would always do stuff with me where I sucked with my left hand as like a 10-year-old, so we'd just sit out in the driveway. He'd like put your right hand behind your back and just shoot left-handed free throws for, minutes and hours on end. And was there anything that you can remember where a late night in the gym with Bosco that you're like, man, this really helped me as a player?
A lot. It's probably that part. And he allowed us to pave our own paths, all of us, all brother and sister too, to do our own thing. He never really forced us to be in the gym, but as you got older, once you got to the middle school part of it, where you really start picking up a little bit more and more basketball, that instead of him having to ask or tell us like, hey, we have practice at 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 at night, now it was on me, and now it's the brother saying, can I come? Can I get there? And were there some late nights before school? You bet there were. But just being there and seeing the guys kind of work out and seeing how, I was able to get shots up while they're shooting, doing one half of the court. I'm able to be on the other side of the floor and work with maybe one of the other assistant coaches, one of the guys that's injured that day that I was able to shoot around and play with. So that was great. And almost getting run over a few times probably helped me get faster and quicker off the court when they went from a half court to a transition drill without saying anything. So you learned, but I think those were the most fun moments where it became on me now to tell my dad, hey, can I come with you to practice? Can I join you? And then just soak everything in, because when you're that age in the the middle school and elementary school growing up, like those are your guys. Like you're in town. I mean, I looked up to those guys like they were the best NBA players in the world.
It never gets old. I mean, we really love it. It's just you can't get enough of it.
For sure.
So last segment, we have our special segment.
Okay.
This is called What the Flick. Okay. So I don't know if you're aware, but you are quite photogenic on the Flickr app account. Well, do you know Flickr?
I know of it. Don't give me a trivia on this either.
Flickr is where all of like the Carthage athletic communications and photographers post all their photos from games and everything.
Okay.
So I've collected an album of Steve Djurickovic coaching pictures, and we're gonna walk through them.
Okay.
So I'm gonna flip this around to you.
Okay.
So we're gonna break down these pictures. So this first one we got here. For those who are listening on Spotify, this might be a little difficult, but we got this first picture. We're in the huddle, and it looks like you're chewing someone's butt out.
That is a super calm, just laid back, and just positive reinforcement at that point. I would love to know time and situation of where this was, but
we can make some assumptions.
I have a pretty good idea of where this one is too, but that's positivity, right? That's just getting us more encouragement and being ready to finish that game.
What do you have to say to Phil? Phil's now gone, but Phil's slumped back. He doesn't seem too engaged in the huddle. What do you think you're saying to Phil right now? What I will tell you is I wish I spoke Serbian. I think we could have had a better conversation at this point too, because after you have a player like Phil who's had all the successes in the world on the floor, you grew up together too. He started when I started coaching as a head coach, so we worked through a lot of the ups, a lot of the downs throughout the trajectory of it, and I think it's different because you want to say it as the coach-player one, but we were both coming up at the same time too, so it was sort of a big brother type, I feel like, relationship where, hey, you can tell me what you're feeling, I'm going to tell you the same on my end too, and at the end of the day, you're going to give him a hug after and know that you were trying to get that common goal crossed. But better body language needed on a Phil. I think you might you might like this next one. So it looks like you're doing the classic, having a nice, friendly discussion with the referee. He seems to be very enthusiastic and excited to talk with you. So.
He's taking it all in. I think I'm getting my point across very under control here. I would tell you that the officiating in this league, especially if the assigner's listening, it's been fantastic. It's getting better and better, which is true every single year. And what I truly do, what I love about the refs in this league is all of them are totally approachable and willing to listen to you, where there are some times where a coach just wants to vent a little bit, right? And I appreciate that the refs are there, willing to listen to you during times, and I think they do an excellent job. I honestly do. As much as I can joke and kid about them too, they do a good job, and I think that coaches really appreciate just somebody that's willing to listen to you and say, hey, I may have got that one wrong, because we all make mistakes, from coaches to players to officials. Like, maybe I missed that one too. And sometimes that's all you need. And then if you can find one of me sitting down, which is rare, then I can go back to my chair and relax a little bit.
Okay. All right, next one. This is, I'm not really sure what happened before this, but we can try to make some assumptions.
This would be me saying, you know what, I think we may have missed one. I think this is one. This is calm, just sort of saying, hey, what do we think? And let me know next time you get up and down the floor why we may have. And again, it's not always on the refs. We'll say this. Could have been at one of the players on the floor that, hey, I thought we were running this set. You decided to go rogue a little bit, do something different. So that's just me thinking like, I'm not sure here.
Is this one of those where it's like we calling it both ways, or what?
Yeah. We could do that.
All right, next one. This is one of my favorite Coach Steve antics throughout the games. It's the clapping.
It's my favorite part too, because that means something small. It's usually when something small happens where we either took advantage of a mismatch or did something that we did in the scouting report, like that something we went through and walked through that morning that actually translated to the court. That's when I get happy. If one of our guys who's you go out there, hit a three-point shot when you're wide open, I don't know if I'm going to have that reaction. I'm going to be really happy for you, but I'm like, yeah, I'm expecting a really good shooter to go out there and put the ball into the basket. But when when it's all five guys on the floor, having that common goal, doing everything the right way, following the system, following a scouting report, somebody taking a charge, whatever it's going to be, that's when you'll get that reaction there.
So if you guys see Steve on the sidelines doing a quick burst of really, really fast clapping, you know something good happens.
I think that's fair, yeah.
All right, next one. We gotta zoom in on the shoe game here. I don't know how much of a shoe head you may consider yourself to be, but they got a picture of it and they thought it was worth taking a photo of.
I know nothing about shoes. I have no clue on any of these things.
These are Jordans, I believe.
That I got across. I think that's what it was. These were a one-game thing. I
do remember you only wore them once.
Did we win that game? I think we did, right?
Let's see. Was this the...
I think this was home versus Elmhurst, I thought, for Alumni Day, I believe.
Okay.
So if that was the one, then I would be okay with it. So I think we're 1-0 with those, so maybe we'll bring them back a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And because I am so, I don't want to say uninterested, but I have no knowledge on shoes, which is, I should know more when I look through all your guys' lockers and I see some of you with 20 to 25 shoes in there. But I'll thank my sister for buying me a pair of those.
I don't mean to call anybody out, but who are the guys that have shoes just filled to the top?
Phil's gone, so we can't throw him under the bus anymore. Every time I'm giving a tour of the locker room and showing our space to recruits, I have to clean up Colton Sigel's locker because he's got every cubby hole, and there's so much storage down there too. So those would probably be the main ones. Who am I missing? Who do you guys think?
I think Colton and Phil were definitely the ones. I think overall it's just we have a pretty good handle on things. I think what does happen is the laundry gets thrown around the floor a lot, and there's no food in there yet, but that can be an issue. But I think the biggest problem has always been laundry, just getting that consistently, not a pile in the locker, but folded nice and neat. And
maybe hand them out to lockers instead of throwing them all over. Yeah, that'd make me happier too.
Yeah. All right. Next one. This is, I don't really know what to think of this one. This is like shock or surprise or I don't know. What do you think this?
You started this segment by saying photogenic, and I knew we were going to get to one or two of these because most, unfortunately, and I'll tell you this may be not on the basketball court, family pictures, everything else. I get more pictures that look like this than I get the nice smiling, like positive one there. So I'm going to go with a you got to be kidding me, or what were you thinking on that one too? So, or you thought that was a good shot, because I completely disagree.
I think
is that fair?
This might be a transition pull-up three or one pass shot. I know you have issues with that.
Those are pet peeves. You guys know that. Maybe it's a time and score situation. Like, hey, we're up 6 with 2 to go, and we take a first down screen shot. This probably could be that one.
Okay, I think we got a couple more here. Another one with some of your favorite people in the league.
Again, I can't appreciate or respect the officials enough for them, their willingness to come over. We all know coaches are a little crazy. We have to be in this business. And just having people that are willing to listen to sometimes your craziness that's all we need. We just want to be heard. We just want to, talk to an official, like, very calmly, like always. I do think I'm pretty good at that. Don't laugh at that, Mason. I think most of the time, there are times I may go a little over the top, but I think 90% of the time I can get my point across. I will never swear at an official ever. That never happens ever. So I'm glad I have this working relationship, and this was a heck of a crew that we had this game.
I think you do a good job with the referees. You guys have a lot of great conversations. I think my favorite thing is when you go up and down the sidelines, and then you're just following them. And then they eventually get to the baseline, then you get cut up and all right, I better.
I got my point. I got my point across. Yeah. Official says, "Hey, that's enough. You go on your way. They go on their way. We're nothing harm. Right. No harm done."
Do you think you have a reputation with the refs? Do you think they look well upon you?
I would say yeah, I really do, because I think it's never personal. Nothing ever should be with officials. I think there are times that you know when you get to a point, and I think in 5 years that I've had one technical foul in 5 years, and that's a debate. I'm still upset about that one too, because I don't think that was deserved. But 1 in 5 years, because I think just having that working relationship, that they're out there for a reason. They're really good at what they do, and just having that dialogue and having guys that you can work with for 40 minutes throughout. I'm working hard on the sidelines. Obviously, the guys, all 10 on the floor, are working hard on the floor. The 3 officials are working really hard too.
I mean, officiating is got to be one of the most challenging positions as well, and with just the crowd and the parents getting involved, there's a lot on their plate already. I think they do a great job.
There's a lot of factors that go into it. You're right. It's a competitive environment. Everyone's there. There are people living and dying on every single play. A lot of the times where they may think that, hey, coach is talking a lot, but a lot of the times it's not even to them. It's to us on the team of what we're trying to get done and what we're trying to flow into offense, what we're trying to communicate defensively. So sometimes there is like a miscommunication, like, oh, no, I'm not talking to you at this point. It's more to the team too. But I think I love working with them. It's sort of a game within the game too when you are talking to officials. And like I said, I think we have the best officials in Division III. I think we have a good group of guys that kind of work at different levels. Steve Hanacki, who is our assigner, does a nice job of getting us nice young officials that are working their way through it. And you'll see a lot of them in some Big Ten games this year.
Yeah. So last photo.
Oh boy.
We're actually not talking to refs. We're talking to our players here. We're here with Antoine, number 5 here. And what do you think this discussion with Antoine's going to be?
I'm guessing based on score up there, second half, what we want to get into probably, since this should be us at the free throw line, what can we get into defensively, and what do we want to see the next possession to? And, I think Antoine, I give a lot of credit to. I think he's one of the smarter players in the CCIW. He understands how the game flows, and he's got a really good feel for the game. So what I do like about Antoine is his ability to he comes up to you, he listens, and now he's able to get it out to everybody else on the floor too. And I know that's something that he wants to work on a little bit this year, is to be. He was kind of a similar, and you guys might not see it in your perspective, but I would consider personality similar to Antoine on the floor, where it was more by example, less vocal leadership qualities. And I think that's something that in those first 4 preseason practices, I noticed a big change. I'm proud of Antoine for that, because I like to see that growth and maybe do a little bit more on the vocal side of it this upcoming season too.
I will say, I think Antoine has done a great job of being more vocal from just in the locker room and around. So I think he's doing a great job.
It is definitely noticeable, and I'm excited for his senior year.
All right, well, this is going to be a great episode, I think. I really appreciate you having the time to come down here and join me on the show. We had a great discussion about a lot of things. The Djurickovic family, very involved, and it's an amazing story, I really think. Obviously, your time as a player was amazing, and I think you showed that you're really passionate about Carthage and everything, and obviously you did a great job breaking down these photos, and I think you gave some really great insights to how photogenic you are. So
I won't go that far, but yeah.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I know you're not very into social media, but
that's for sure.
There might be a Steve Djurickovic fan page that pops up after this episode. I don't know. Who knows?
We'll see what happens, and I appreciate you doing this. I know we discussed this last year, one of our end-of-year meetings, where it was like, what can we do to get this podcast up and running? And sitting down with you, I could see the passion in this and the excitement. So this is going to be great. This is going to be great for the Carthage community. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the athlete interviews as we lead up to. And I'm just excited to see how this will grow over the year, too, because you're doing a heck of a job with this.
Thank you. I still want to take you up on that GoldenEye
Anytime
challenge.
you want. And I do appreciate one last thing that we had one thing that I said I should have clarified earlier that was off limits on this podcast, and that's Chicago White Sox baseball. So we got through this one, except for me bringing it up now. But outside of that, heck of a job.
I was very tempted to talk about the Bears, which is borderline,
not White Sox level, but we're getting close.
All right, thanks for joining the show. For everybody listening, stay tuned for future episodes, and thank you for listening to Fuel in the Flame. We'll see you next time. Peace.